Hi, I'm Dana. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm proud to be a board member here at the Resilience Resource Center. The Resilience Resource Center is a community based nonprofit organization founded to bring resilience skills to the LGBTQ community. Resilience means to bounce back and has been developed and proven by mental health professionals to help fight depression, anxiety, and essentially to help us recover more quickly from life's challenges. The challenges do occur and we all face them. And the trick is to learn how to face them with confidence and with strength and with the tools to recover quickly. We teach resilience through delivery of our programs at the Resilience Resource Center. We have our mental health counseling where we offer one-on-one group therapy, couples therapy. We have our support groups. I'm proud to run our career skills training, our career resilience, or our queer careers program. We have our youth groups and our support groups. We're very proud of our new deaf community group. And we use our community space to have that safe space where it's affirming and friendly and where our youth, where our adults and families can all meet and gather and just be ourselves. So what is resilience? Resilience is a set of skills that help us overcome adversities. Simple as that. Bounce back from life's problems and challenges, those that are external, those that are internal, those, even if we create them ourselves, they're very real. There's a set of skills for resilience, and we'll talk about these a little more in depth later, but our identity, our confidence, our persistence, our ability to be grateful and take care of ourselves and feel optimistic, and to lean on community and have healthy connections. One way you can self-assess and you can see how this changes over time as you attend more of our sessions. Learn how resilient you are. How do you use your strengths? How do you calm yourself down and how well do you do at it? How grateful are you for the things in your life, or how much are you focused on the negatives? Excuse me. And how much do you do some physical activity every day? How much do you keep moving and take care of yourself? So as we go through today's presentation, I'd like you to think about just some things in your own personal experience. What are your unique challenges? Not just, I don't like my boss, but my boss, I have trouble setting boundaries with my boss. They're always calling me at 8 p.m. and I don't want to be answering work questions or answering the phone at all. How does your identity affect your career? Who are you, and what does that what impacts has that had? We've all faced resilience challenges, or challenges that need resilience, and we've met it in ways. What are some of your success stories, and what do you do when to recharge your battery? It's so important that we talk about work-life balance. What do you do to recharge your battery? Today, though, we're going to focus on the career challenges faced by the LGBTQ community. We all have to work, and everybody faces unique challenges, and there's a lot of common ones in the LGBTQ community. There's been a lot of research done, and I wanted to share some of that. So first comes from an article from Psychology Today, where they were referring to a study done by the Human Rights Campaign with over almost 100 companies, real household names, and talking to their LGBTQ employees of all levels and finding out what their challenges have been. Obviously, a huge amount of it has to do with coming out, right? Do I come out? If I do come out, what's going to happen? Are people going to talk? Are people going to have microaggressions or macroaggressions and abuse and harassment? If I don't come out, how straight do I have to act? How do I dress? How do I talk? What do I say about my weekend with my partner? And then what if somebody sees my Facebook feed, or what if somebody says something and starts talking and gossiping, right? Um, should I just avoid all social interaction and just I come to work and I do my job and I leave and nobody, I'm a mystery person. These are real decisions and challenges that we all face. Um, one I remember early in my career, it wasn't to me, it was to my manager, whose um, sexual and gender identity was all a mystery to us. We all wondered, but and customers would ask them, um, why you're still single? Are you planning to have kids? Are you getting married? Are you dating someone? And you could tell they were visibly uncomfortable. If people do come out, there's all kinds of bias, right? And people might be excluded from lunches or happy hours or promotion opportunities. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of the real things that happen, but these are all things that we're going through and struggling and trying to understand, and how do we decide for ourselves what's right? How do we decide what's right when somebody makes an anti-LGBTQ joke? And regardless of what our identity is, we all have to decide, how do we stand up for when people are making comments at the expense of those who can't defend themselves? What if we are being bullied? What if we are being um, rejected for promotions and opportunities? How am I going to react? What am I going to do? These are all stresses and mental energy that we have to expend just to exist in the workplace. And when we do, right, there's so many assumptions that are made around the greater good and the majority and the needs of the many. And while that all makes sense when you're a member of in this case, a sexual and gender minority, looking at the privileges everybody else has that you don't, is hard. I know a person who works at a place that's very affirming. There's an LGBTQ club. They're allowed their pronouns on their email. There's gender neutral bathrooms, but they themselves work in a sterile environment, and there's a changing room, and there's only male and female changing rooms. And there was trouble in as they transition in transitioning those rooms. There's just so many things as we apply for jobs. The check boxes, just for me personally, there was one job where they required us to use our legal name. And even before my transition activities, I I didn't like my full legal name. I used a nickname. These are all considerations that, not just for our community, but especially for our community, make work very challenging. McKinsey and Company wanted to go a little further in depth. They worked with hundreds of individuals, and read the article yourself, right? But so they came away with some key takeaways. One, underrepresentation. That's not representation. Um, and that has impacts, and we'll talk about those. Women especially, it's just the harassment, the comments, from microaggressions to outright sexual harassment, and worse, abuse stories that I've heard are horrifying. Um, these numbers are scary, right? And then even aside from that, so those are actions, but how does it impact our work? We want to work, right, and do our jobs and be good at it, but we hold ourselves back. We don't apply for those high level jobs because we're afraid we're not going to get it. So McKinsey and Co. talked about, what can corporate leadership do? Create those structures, put those multiple options on your employment forms. Uh, Make a gender neutral bathroom available. Um, Inappropriate behavior, if you hear it, you stop it right away. It can't just silence. It's not enough. We saw the underrepresentation, so improve sponsorship. There's got to be ways to give those same opportunities and maybe just a little more, right? Just to increase your representation so that your leadership team and your employee base and your constituency, your customers, your clients, um, and the general population around you, there should be a balance there, right? Shouldn't there? Um, so promote that inclusivity and really make sure that you're building on the strengths and building a strong team. Part of that is avoiding that only feeling, especially with racial minorities, physically disabled, um, even cisgendered women, but especially LGBTQ people, being that only. And if you're two of these marginalized groups, you feel like you're out on an island and you never see anybody. You're the only, and you even wonder if that's the reason you're there. I want to move ahead to this piece on the disabilities, because LGBTQ people are statistically proven to have a higher rate of disabilities, physical disabilities, or mental disabilities are 2 to 3 times higher amongst the LGBTQ community. And even when we are abled, right, in the ways we can still function in society, or those who are higher functioning, there's just more impairment, right? There's workarounds. I need to adjust the way I talk. I need to adjust the way I dress. I need to take extra pictures in an event so that I can post it on our company intranet. We have more physical diseases and chronic issues like fibromyalgia or heart disease, and oh my goodness, the digestive issues from carrying stress. And then when you look at the gender diverse, the transgender, non-binary, intersex, the rates of disability can be 3 times as much amongst certain populations in some studies. 3 times. It's unfathomable. So they talk about some stories, and I encourage you to go read some of these stories. They're powerful, right? About how these are parts of people's lives and what they need from work, right? And how they need to think and to work around all these situations. Now, we all develop our defense mechanisms. We learn to be stubborn. We learn to be independent because we don't have the role models and we don't have the support or feel we can ask for that support. Hopefully we learn pride. It's a powerful tool. There's a reason the LGBTQ community chose pride as our symbol. I guess the rainbow is the symbol and the pride is our mission, our motto, because so often we're taught to be ashamed. And it's so debilitating to feel ashamed of who you are. But we have all these struggles, right? And thinking, and everything's a thought process. Who do I come out to? Do I come out? Can I share it? What's going to happen to me if I do? There's horrible, horrible stories. We have regrets. We live in fear. We let our lives go by trying to do what we think everybody else wants us to do. And out of that shame and out of that fear. And it's not just in the workplace. It happens in education too, in academia, right? Where academia is waiting for the government to act, but it needs to change. Minds are still developing until their late 20s. People are still developing their brain and constantly learning, but developing your sense of identity is crucial in an academic environment. So this was that article from the Higher Ed Today, right? Don't wait for government mandates. Build good practices for an inclusive community, and follow programs that work at other institutions, including corporate institutions, and bring inclusivity into the classroom. Teach about queer history and people throughout queer history, just like we're taught um, Native history and Black history and women's history. These are important subjects for a significant portion of our population. So where does that leave us, right? We talked about resilience at the beginning. There's all these challenges. They're real challenges. They're perceived. They're emotional. They're physical. They're real challenges. So how do we be resilient? We talked at the beginning about these skills of resilience, right? Identity development. Really understand who I am. Not just am I label X and label Y, but who am I? Be proud of that and understand that and embrace it, right? And accept it. I am who I am, and there's warts, and there's features that are less or more attractive. Let's think that way. And we have self-esteem and confidence in that. I am a unique, beautiful person, and it's hard for me to say, and it's hard for me to hear, but I need to feel it. It's the only way to go through the world with resilience. Otherwise, you feel just weak and powerless. Sometimes these negative thoughts, and sometimes they happen with those traumas, with real voices and real words that are real memories for us. And sometimes they're just the echoes of the voice in our head that's saying, don't try that, you look silly, or no, you've never done that. There's better people than that. We need to challenge those. We need to fight those, and then to learn how. And through it all, to experience gratitude, to be grateful for what we do have, and not just to focus on those negative thoughts, but to think about all the privileges and the honor and the love that I do have in my life, to remember these and to approach life with hope. I spent a long time feeling hopeless, and some of it was even intentional to, um, avoid disappointment. But the fact is that the more you do that, the more there's just always a cloud, and there's no hope of things getting better. And you need that hope. It drives you forward, and it pulls you, and it's part of it's part of being happy. So allow yourself that hope and that optimism that things will work out. And when you do, and you find all your purpose and your self-worth, share those connections with your community. Engage in your activities, join a band, go take a class, go find a hiking group on meetup.com. Build those connections, talk about them, do the things you love with other people, and share them. As we wrap up, I'd like you, if nothing else, you take away from this presentation, thinking about what are your unique challenges, and maybe you can think of how to face them with resilience. Think about who you are and what are your strengths. What are you unique and valuable and good at, and how do you bring that and share that with others who hold the same interests, and 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 together just form a stronger bond. Find out more about us and our resilience. Join us at the Resilience Resource Center. Find us online. We're really excited to bring all these programs to you, and I hope to see you there. Thank you so much. Have a great day.